It's a cold August night in 1963. The world sleeps, but one train thunders through the darkness, carrying more money than any armored truck in Britain. No guards, no guns, only steel, wheels, and the sound of destiny approaching. In the next 30 minutes, history will be stolen.
England, 1963. A country between eras, the post-war fog finally clearing, the Beatles on the radio, and a quiet confidence humming through its veins. But in the shadows of that optimism, a handful of men were planning something extraordinary. They weren't assassins or mobsters. They were thieves, meticulous, disciplined, hungry. Not for blood, but for fortune. They studied schedules, railway charts, postal systems. They understood how the lifeblood of Britain, its money, traveled unseen every night on a train from Glasgow to London, called the Up Special. Inside one of its carriages, behind bolted doors, lay sacks of currency, millions in crisp banknotes being sent to the capital for sorting, a treasure trove on rails. For years, the system had never failed, and that made it predictable. Predictability was opportunity.
In smoky London pubs and dim garages, plans were whispered. The man at the center of it all, clever, composed, the kind who never raised his voice, believed that fortune favored the bold. He gathered a team. Drivers, mechanics, signal experts, even ex-soldiers, each one handpicked, each with a skill. They met in secret safe houses, maps spread across tables, cups of black coffee cooling beside grease-stained fingers. They memorized every curve of the railway line, every signal box between Leighton Buzzard and Cheddington. They knew exactly when the train would pass, 3 a.m. They knew exactly where to stop it, at a lonely bridge in Buckinghamshire, known as Bridego Bridge. And they knew precisely how to make the signal red. This wasn't impulse, this was orchestration.
For weeks, they trained in silence. They purchased vehicles under false names, 2 green Land Rovers stripped of identification. They found an isolated farmhouse just miles from the tracks, bought with cash, windows blacked out. Every movement rehearsed, every second accounted for. How to cut the line, how to move the mail car, how to lift 2 tons of money in less than half an hour. They were not armed with guns, but with nerve. They swore to each other no one gets hurt. This would be a robbery of precision, not violence. Yet fate rarely honors promises made in the dark.
The days crept closer to August 8th. The men barely slept. Some kissed their wives and children goodbye, as if going to work, hearts pounding beneath calm smiles. Each knew, one mistake, one slip, and they'd trade freedom for a lifetime behind bars. But greed has a gravity of its own. By sunset on August 7th, the farmhouse was alive with quiet tension. Bags were packed, radios tuned, masks laid out in rows. They listened to the ticking of clocks as if time itself were daring them to move. Midnight came, engines rumbled. 15 men drove out into the night, headlights off, roads silent, hearts beating to a rhythm older than crime itself.
Miles away, the mail train rolled south from Glasgow, a steel serpent gliding through darkness, carrying over £2.6 million in small banknotes. Inside, postal workers sorted letters under warm yellow lamps, unaware that destiny was pacing alongside them on the cold tracks. To them, it was just another shift. To others, it was the beginning of legend. The countryside was quiet, the air heavy with mist. The driver's eyes fixed on the glimmering signal lights ahead. Green, yellow, green again. Routine, predictable, safe. Until suddenly, it wasn't.
At a small signal box near Sears Crossing, a red blub flickered to life, one that wasn't supposed to. Someone had rewired the system, powered by a hidden battery. The next signal turned red, forcing the driver to ease the throttle, brakes squealing against iron wheels. The train shuddered to a halt. Steam hissed into the night. Silence fell, unnatural, suffocating, endless. From the shadows beneath the trees, shapes began to move. Boots on gravel, breath held. History, waiting to be rewritten. The air crackled with anticipation. 15 men against 1 train. No alarms, no police, just darkness and daring. At that precise moment, as the world slept, crime prepared to make history.